you. Thank you so much, David. It's really a pleasure for us to be here today, here in Youn, for this wonderful occasion of the Lambing Flat Chinese Festival. What I am very pleased to do today is to introduce you to one of Australia's Paralympian champions, Lindy Hou. Let me tell you a little bit about Lindy, and then I'll ask Lindy a few questions, and she will, I'm sure, be happy to respond. Lindy, as you can see, was originally born in Hong Kong, but she has lived most of her life here in Australia. And before she had her disability, which is to do with sight, and she'll explain that a little bit more to you later, Lindy was not born, she was born sighted, but then lost her sight some years ago. However, that did not deter Lindy at all. She was always a keen sportswoman, and she was keen to keep on following up with sport, and eventually ended up in doing cycling at the Paralympic Games. Now what I'd like to ask you, Lindy, maybe you'd like to just tell the people a little bit about... Oh, sorry, I also forgot. This is Harper, which is Lindy's wonderful guide dog, right? And Harper's a great friend. So I'll ask Lindy to say a little bit about her background and how she got into the Paralympic Games. Thank you, Lindy.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Yes, Stephanie was right. I was born in Hong Kong and came to Australia in 1974, so really about 40 years ago now. And I was sighted, but then I actually got a condition called retinitis pigmentosa, which is a degenerative eye condition that affects about 1 in 3,000 people in Australia. So I started losing my sight in my 20s, and then it's been progressively losing it. And my prognosis is, you know, one day I probably will become total. It's not a condition that they found a cure for so far. It's a genetic condition. And I think different people differently. Some people get their onset when they're really little, and then by the time they become teenagers, they become totally blind. Whereas some sort of have an onset later in life, and they still got some residual vision at the end of their life. And for me, I actually don't look blind. A lot of people say to me, "Hey, you don't look blind. How can you be blind?" Well, all I can do is make out shadows around me. So, you know, I probably notice someone walking in front of me, but I probably don't know who that is. So that's the condition that I have. And after I started losing my sight, and the Sydney Paralympic game was coming up, and I thought, well, that's a childhood dream of mine, and I'd love to be able to wear the green and gold uniform and represent Australia in the 2000 Paralympic Games. And unfortunately that wasn't it, because I didn't make the team, and made Athens my goal, and the rest was history.
So what happened after that, Lindy, after the not being able to get into the Sydney Games?
I thought I decided to try to make Athens my goal, and not only just to represent Australia. I thought, well, aiming for gold medal is probably, you know, just a little goal to aim for. So I did. I trained, and I actually made team in 2004, and I was fortunate enough to be able to win a gold, 2 silvers, and a bronze medal at the Athens Paralympic Games. And yeah, so that was good.
After Athens, the next Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, were at Beijing. Now, one of Lindy's goals was to try and win gold in Beijing. Well, she'll tell you what happened.
Well, as most of you know, Athens is the land where the modern Olympic Games began. So it was fantastic to be able to stand up on the podium at Athens. But then when I knew that the Beijing Paralympic Games was coming up in 2008, I thought, well, there's nothing better to be able to stand up on the podium on the land where my ancestors came from in the Australian uniform. I mean, there's not better way to represent Australia, that multicultural background then to actually be able to win gold in Beijing. So I decided to go on for another 4 years and train for it. And I finished up with a silver and a bronze medal, so I got to get on the podium.
That's wonderful, Lindy. That means you got 6 medals in total. Maybe I should just say a little bit. The sport that Lindy was in is actually cycling. And some of you might think, well, how come Lindy can be involved in cycling when she can hardly see? So maybe you can just explain to them how cycling for the Paralympian Games operates.
Yeah, often people ask me, how do you ride a bike when you can't see? Well, I can't ride on my own, obviously. I actually ride on a tandem bike. And then the next question most people ask me is, do you sit on the front or on the back? Well, surprisingly, a number of people actually think I sit on the front. But logically, it's actually safer for me and my pilot and my bike if I sit on the back, because then at least the bike will be going in the correct direction. So yeah, I sit on the back of a tandem bike and I pedal every stroke of the way with my pilot. And if I only get $1 every time someone call out, "Hey, the one on the back's not pedaling," I'll be very, very wealthy.
Now, I'd also like to mention that after 2 Paralympic Games, oh, by the way, anyone who gets a gold medal also gets an OAM, they get an order. So Lindy Hou has after her name OAM, which is a wonderful achievement. Now, after Lindy had been to 2 lots of Paralympic Games, not giving up, you wouldn't believe it, now she's still involved in a very active life. And maybe you'd like to talk about what you've been doing since the Paralympic Games.
I retired from paracycling in 2008, and to just keep myself fit and active, I was involved in a number of charity bike rides. I did one from Cairns to Melbourne, which is about 4,000 kilometres, and I thought it was downhill because, you know, as you all know, the top of Australia to the bottom is downhill, but I was surprisingly found that there's plenty of hills. And recently I took up triathlon, and I actually went to London last year to represent Australia in the para-triathlon competition, and yeah, it was wonderful to be able to mount many thousands of competitors in age group as well as open all over the world. So yeah, I just keep myself active. For me, even though Paralympic is going to be at the next Rio Paralympic Games, I'm a little bit sort of past that now, but I still enjoy participating in the sports.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Lindy. Now, what I liked, Lindy actually, if any of the children, anyone wants to meet with Lindy, she does actually have the medals that she won. So if you'd like to meet her, she'll be around here. But I'd like to just show that it's wonderful that here we have someone of such wonderful enthusiasm and zest for life, despite a disability, and what she has been able to achieve. So could you all join together with me and just show your appreciation to Lindy and to Harper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. And I'm really proud to be able to have won the green and gold, to have been an Aussie and being, you know, representing the Chinese heritage as well. I'd like to thank the Young Council to making this particular weekend, this particular day possible. And yeah, and for the many people that had the opportunity to taste the Chinese food as well. Thank you very, very much.
Oops! I did it again, baby. Yeah!
Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye for now.